Hi, everybody. I'm Barb,
I'm Randine,
Hi, I'm Dacia.
and this
and this
is
is
our
our
Sclero
Sclero-What
adventure.
Adventures. Well, welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for Scleroderma Awareness Month. Randine and I are so happy and honored to be bringing you scleroderma patients every single day for Scleroderma Awareness Month. We think it is so important that you are educated about scleroderma, and there's no better person to learn that from than a scleroderma patient that is actually living with it. And so we are privileged to have Dacia with us here today. Thank you so much for joining us, girl.
Thank you.
And so we are just going to get started and tell us, Dacia, what form of scleroderma do you have?
I have linear scleroderma. Amorphia? I think that's part of scleroderma.
Yep, you are right. Yeah. And well, and tell us, when were you diagnosed?
I was officially diagnosed at 7,
And you are today?
26.
Okay. So you have lived with it for 19 years.
Yep.
And honestly, over 19 years, you learn things, you forget things, you learn them again, you forget them again, you learn them again. I mean, I'm kind of with you in that regard, girl. Like, I've lived with scleroderma for 27 years, and I remember learning things at the very beginning and then forget them.
That's the hardest part, especially because I was so young and my mom handled everything. Like I was not a part of learning about scleroderma. I just knew what it was. And I'd be like, yeah, I have a disease. And people would be like, what?
Right.
And I'm like, so now I'm like, what? Wait, what is this?
Yes. Yes. And so even do you think it's this one? I'm totally going off the grid here. So so do you think it's different learning about it as an adult? Like
Totally.
now that you're an adult, like you can actually like absorb the information of what is happening.
Yeah, it is totally different because when you're a kid, like I said, they don't tell you much and they don't really tell you like the scary side effects of scleroderma or like the scary side effects of like medications with scleroderma. So becoming an adult and like the doctors now speaking directly to me and not to like my parents, it's
Mhm.
definitely way different. And now I have to like really remember like, oh, when did I see this spot start forming or like what medications have I been taking? And it's definitely it's such a weird transition to be in.
I bet that is. And when did that transition start? Like right at 18 or not? I mean, like when do the doctors start treating you differently?
At 18, so I went to Seattle Children's Hospital and they're really good. They help you kind of transition and they help you kind of figure out where to go to find a good rheumatologist as an adult because Seattle Children's has probably the best rheumatology for children. And so they're really good about helping you, but it's like 18, you're cut off. You
You're
gotta
out.
you gotta go. Like we have no room for you here. And so it's like kind of like a fast transition when you're used to going to children's, every 3 to 6 months for your checkups. And now you're going to like an adult doctor and it's so different.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I bet it is. And yeah, and like you said, transitioning over from the doctor speaking to your mom to the doctor speaking to you.
Yeah. Still
Mm-hmm.
at 26, my mom goes with me to my rheumatology appointment.
Good.
I'm like, because they'll be like, okay, and so because I've become like allergic to medications that I was on with scleroderma, and I'm like, I don't even know the names of them,
Yes.
some of them. And my mom will be
Yeah.
like, oh, it was this one and that one, and I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember this.
Exactly.
So
So tell us what, and not that you remember at 7, but I'm sure you've went over it. Your mom has probably told you the story. So tell us what your first symptom was that actually kind of instigated mom and dad taking you to the doctor.
so I have this really big scleroderma spot on my left like side hip, like bottom of my stomach. And at first they thought that I had just like burned myself because I like to climb on things. And so they were like, oh, she just burned herself. And then they noticed like not it wasn't going away, nothing was working. And then they noticed I started getting more of them down my left side. So that's when my mom started taking me to the doctor. And she's actually the one that told the doctor that she thought it was scleroderma, wasn't the doctor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
How did your mom know that?
So she had watched I don't know if it's a documentary, For Hope. She'd seen that about Bob Saget's sister, and she had seen like the symptoms and had read about it. And she'd watched it like when that movie came out, which was like, I don't know, in like the 80s. And then I got diagnosed late 90s, early 2000s, and it like popped in her head and she started looking it up. And she's like, I think it's scleroderma. And they're like, no, it's not. And it came back, it was scleroderma. So she was right.
Kudos to your mom. Wow.
I know. I'm like, how are you just like, it's this really rare autoimmune disease, and I know that's what this is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I'm actually going to skip the question about what would you tell your pre-diagnosis self, because I don't think you could tell yourself anything before 6 years old. Like, that's just living it up. Like, live it up, girl.
Yeah, exactly. Just live your life.
Yeah. So what is one blessing that scleroderma has brought to you?
I would have to say I was trying to think of this earlier. One blessing, probably family and like friends, because having it so young and like growing up with it, having like really supportive friends and like family that now really understands, especially like my immediate family, like they obviously really understand it because they had to live with it too.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest blessing is like they all are really aware of it.
Yes.
For it too, and are very helpful.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that they are your biggest fans too.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, totally. My brother did a whole school project on my scleroderma.
See? Yeah, absolutely.
They're all for it.
Right, exactly. It's a family event, right? Like,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Well, what does Scleroderma Awareness Month mean to you?
I feel like it means to me, I want to say like a sense of community, because I feel like in this month, you obviously see a lot more about it, and you see a lot more of like companies supporting it and like advocating for it. So it's kind of like more like community. It's like now, because like I just randomly saw like a scrunchie company I follow. They're doing scrunchies for scleroderma, and they're sending their proceeds, and I'm like, what? So it's like really cool just to see like, outside become part of that community.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's really cool. That's really nice. You'll have to share in the comments that scrunchy company. And
yes, I emailed them. I was like, when are these scrunchies available? Because they say like hashtag scleroderma or something.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll definitely have to share that so that people can support it because I'm surprised my hair's down right now. I wear scrunchies a lot. So yes. Well, what is one thing that you would want everyone to know about scleroderma?
What is one thing? Can I say two?
Yeah, you can say two.
Okay. The first one I feel like I want people to know is that, I don't know if you guys call this, it's a designer disease. It's never cookie cutter straight across. How somebody else struggles with it, another person doesn't, and their struggles are different. So you can't just assume that everybody's like okay, because it can be like mine is easily hidden under my clothes. You can't just assume like on the inside I'm feeling great, because I'm not.
Yeah.
Or that what is one thing? How it affects your mental health. That's really important to me. I feel like having any autoimmune disease, but scleroderma especially, because there is no cure and it's a really hard thing to live with. How it affects your mental health. That's super important to me.
Those are so good, Dacia. I love both of those. And I love you calling it a designer disease. And that's exactly what it is.
yeah.
Yes.
That's my-
Awesome. Yeah.
Now me.
Now Randine gets to talk.
Random Randine questions. The first one, what is the weirdest thing you have ever seen in someone else's home?
My brain is like gone. The weirdest thing I've ever seen in someone's home. I don't even know why I can't think right now. I mean, I went to a friend's house and they had like the birds like walking. It's like they're like walking around the living room on the floor, and I was like,
Some people have chickens in their home. They'll bring them in. So that is kind of weird.
I'm like, they were like parrots, and they like full run at you, and I was like, maybe you should put them away.
That would scare the bejeebers out of me. Like,
I'm not a bird fan either, so I'm like, no, thank you.
a parrot coming at me, I would be like, I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah, no, thank you.
How about you, Barb?
I'm gonna say I have this really great friend that I've had since 7th grade, and that honestly, I didn't really know this about her when I was growing up, but as an adult, I went to her house and she had this whole room full of Barbies that was like, what? Where did all these Barbies come from? Like, and I don't know if you guys know this about my friend Randine here, but she owns thousands of Barbies. Like, I will say that's one of the craziest things I've ever, like, that is collection on steroids, honestly.
Were they still in their boxes?
Yes. Oh yeah. She only collects them in boxes. Like, they're all in boxes. They've never been opened. They've like, yeah. And I gotta say, I'm so glad that she now has a shop that she can actually display them all. And so you definitely are gonna have to show pictures, Randine, because it is absolutely amazing.
But I don't have them all displayed at the shop because we ran out of room. So.
Yeah, ran out of room.
Yeah. So, and my next second question for you would be, so Dacia is a single lady and she dates. So what is the weirdest date you have ever been on?
Oh, geez. Weirdest date I've ever been on. I met a guy and we went just to the beach. It started out real normal. And then he started being like, I can't wait to marry you. And I want to bring you home to my family. And let's go to Tennessee. And I was like, I've only known you for 20 minutes. I never spoke to him again. Never spoke to him again. I was like, this is the weirdest, most
wow
thing I've ever done.
How about you, Barb? Have you ever had a weird date that you can think of?
I gotta tell you, my husband that I'm married to for, it'll be 28 years this year, he is my high school sweetheart. So there was not a lot of dates before him. And so no weird dates because I married the man.
But since you've been married, he's probably taken you to some weird places.
No, we don't. No.
You don't go to weird places. You do.
We don't go to weird places. I am a CPA, Randy, and you know that. Like, that is inherently, like, any kind of stereotype that you know about a CPA, that is me. Like, I am by the book. Like, if I'm gonna go someplace, I'm gonna research it before I go. Like, I have my schedule. No, we don't do weird things. I mean,
type A personality.
I am like, the only reason why Sclero-What adventures even exists is because of this girl right here. Honestly, it has nothing to do with me.
To bring you out of your shell.
Exactly.
Oh, and she's done very well on coming out of her shell too. So, well, thank you, Dacia, for talking with us today.
Thank you so much, Dacia. And thank you all of you for tuning in. Please tune in every single day as we bring you a new scleroderma patient and new stories every single day. Happy Scleroderma Awareness Month. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Goodbye.